Like, what if I told you that in the dark universe of Coraline, there was a secret prophecy that nobody noticed? A prophecy that foretold the arrival of a blue-haired girl capable of defeating the dreaded Other Mother, and more. What if I told you that the Other Mother needed to feed exactly 4 times to ensure her immortality? Get ready, because in this video, we're going to explore this intriguing theory that could change everything you thought you knew about Coraline. But before we dive into this intriguing theory, it's worth mentioning that it's based more on the film than on the book. Coraline is, for those who don't know, a story inspired by a children's horror book written by Neil Gaiman, which mixes the dark with the fantastic, creating a universe where nothing is exactly as it seems. Get ready to explore the hidden layers of this stop-motion animation, where every detail could hide a terrifying secret. Coraline was the only one capable of destroying the Other Mother completely, and this was part of an ancient prophecy of the witch. The villain, aware of this threat, was already prepared. Many theorize to this day that the Other Mother had a power capable of foreseeing the future and identifying her next victims. How did she manage to create dolls with such perfect physical characteristics without ever having seen those children in person? Maybe she really could see what was coming. According to the prophecy, or perhaps a vision that the Other Mother had of the future, a blue-haired girl would emerge and end everything she had built, but this would only happen if she failed to feed 4 times. And what would these 4 meals be? 4 souls of children, willingly given, which kept the Other Mother alive and powerful. An interesting detail that further strengthens this theory is the issue of the buttons. The buttons that the Other Mother uses have 4 holes. Of course, this might seem like a common pattern, but why did she choose these buttons specifically? There are buttons with 2 holes, which would be much more practical and quicker to sew onto the children's eyes. But she preferred the 4-hole ones. It could be a simple aesthetic choice, or perhaps there was something deeper and darker behind this decision. Each button with 4 holes could symbolize the 4 souls she needed to sustain herself. Thus, these buttons are not just a design detail, but a symbol of her macabre pact and the danger Coraline represented for her. After all, if Coraline was indeed the girl from the prophecy, the Other Mother knew that time was running out and she needed to act quickly to ensure her survival. As the number 4 in symbolism carries deep meanings such as perseverance, immortality, discovery, consummation, fulfillment of hopes, powers, and desires. And if you pay attention, this starts to make a lot of sense in the universe of Coraline. As the Other Mother only needed 4 children to achieve immortality, because the number 4 is a symbol of the eternity she so desperately sought. Moreover, the number is also linked to the increase in powers, something that the Other Mother clearly desired and is present in this mysterious symbolism. A curious detail that strengthens this theory is the behavior of the Other Mother when she offers the welcome cake to Coraline, and also when she suggests the game that would decide the girl's fate. The Other Mother moves her fingers over the table in an almost imperceptible manner. This happens after she has already revealed her true face, and it can be suggested that this finger movement was a sign of the anxiety she felt about feeding on yet another soul. And, ironically, she moves exactly 4 fingers, reinforcing the importance of this number in her dark plan. As the Other Mother managed to feed on 3 souls over time, with the last victim being Wybie's grandmother's sister. And do you really believe that Wybie's grandmother was unaware of the existence of the Other Mother? Surely she knew, but like many children, no one believed her. And perhaps that's why she became so protective of her grandson, knowing firsthand the danger that lurked in that house. As the Other Mother also desired the soul of Wybie's grandmother, but the only child willing to sew the buttons onto the eyes was her sister. This is a crucial point, as the child needed to willingly give her soul. It couldn't be something forced. And since she did not get the grandmother, the Other Mother already knew that the next child to appear would be Coraline. Curiously, it seems that Wybie's grandmother, somehow, also knew this. She understood the lurking dangers and did everything she could to protect Coraline, even if indirectly. And so the symbolism of the number 4 not only reveals the intentions of the Other Mother, but also subtly and frighteningly connects the events, making it clear that Coraline was not just facing any villain, but rather an entity seeking something much greater and more dangerous. One of the things that really raises suspicion and seems to support this theory is the doll. How did the Other Mother manage to create a doll so perfectly resembling Coraline, a child she had never seen before, especially with the detail of the blue hair? Furthermore, Wybie clearly mentions that the doll belonged to his grandmother's sister, but if it belonged to the sister, how did the doll so quickly turn into an exact replica of Coraline? And here's an even stranger question. Wybie's grandmother, knowing about the existence of the doll, decided to keep it, which is suspicious in itself. After all, the doll no longer looked like her sister, but rather like Coraline. So why did she leave the doll in an accessible place where her grandson could find it and give it to Coraline? The truth is, this really doesn't make sense unless it was intentional. What if Wybie's grandmother wanted Coraline to have the doll? This would explain why she allowed her grandson to find and give it to her, even knowing the dangers. Perhaps she was aware of the other mother and knew that Coraline was the key to ending her. No wonder she didn't rent the house to people with children, because of what happened with her sister. If you look closely at the photo of Wybie's grandmother with her sister, you might notice that the grandmother looks distrustful of the doll, while her sister appears happy. This expression of distrust might indicate that she already knew about the other world and the dangers the doll represented. Both knew, but only one of them suffered the consequences. As there's also a line from the other mother that could further strengthen this theory. When she says she needed Coraline so badly, you can feel the desperation in her words. She wasn't just trying to capture another soul, she was fighting for her survival. And what if the other mother also said something similar to Wybie's grandmother, using emotional blackmail? Perhaps she revealed that she desperately needed Coraline because she knew that if she didn't get that soul, a blue-haired girl would ruin her world and cause her death. But not just hers, she might have said that Wybie's grandmother's sister was also in danger. This emotional manipulation could have been an attempt to convince her to make her sister sew the buttons onto the eyes. But fortunately, the sister managed to escape and did not become one of the victims. As these details combined create a scenario where Wybie's grandmother was more involved than she appeared, perhaps even involuntarily. The other mother was a master of manipulation, and her influence extended far beyond what Coraline could imagine, involving generations in a web of lies and fear. Another intriguing question is the key that opens the portal to the other mother's world. How did Wybie's grandmother, knowing the dangers, leave this key in such an accessible place? It seems strange, doesn't it? After all, it's said that the other mother did not have total control over the key when she was in the other world, which would make it even more crucial to keep the key well guarded. But somehow, the key was within Coraline's reach, as if everything had been carefully orchestrated for her to find the portal. Daininar. And now, an interesting theory we can explore is that Wybie knew more than he let on. Think about it. It's much easier for a child to talk to and trust another child than an adult. Wybie, who had already been in contact with the cat, never approached the Pink Palace because he was afraid of the scary stories his grandmother told. And who's to say that Wybie's grandmother didn't know exactly what she was doing by having Wybie give the doll to Coraline? Perhaps the intention was to prove to Coraline that she wasn't crazy, and that everything was real. In the end, it's Wybie who helps Coraline get rid of the other mother's mechanical hand, appearing at the exact moment as if he had been watching her all along. It seems very convenient, doesn't it? As if he knew something terrible was about to happen and was waiting for the right moment to act. And now a point that really doesn't make sense. Why would the other mother throw Coraline behind the mirror, where the souls of the last 3 victims were trapped? Think about it. The other mother was able to create an entire fictional world, full of details and illusions. It would be unlikely that she didn't know about the ghosts there. And of course, it's logical that the souls would tell Coraline everything about what happened to them, revealing the secrets and weaknesses of the villain. And perhaps the other mother wanted Coraline to believe that there was no turning back, that it didn't matter whether she agreed to sew the buttons on her eyes or not. The end would be the same. The other mother might have been trying to break Coraline's hope, making her willingly give up her soul after all. If it wasn't willingly, it would be by force. Now, let's go over the points that disprove the theory and make us rethink everything we've explored. The details we've highlighted so far are based on a very complex and dark theory. However, the film does not clearly address the number 4 as an important element in the story. The number 4 is not explicitly mentioned or explored in the film, so any connection to this number might be more speculative than concrete. Additionally, the idea that Wybie's grandmother had a deeper involvement in the story, or that she knew more than what is shown, could be an exaggeration of the details. While it's true that Wybie's grandmother was concerned about Coraline, this might be due to her knowledge of the risks associated with the other mother and not because of some deeper prophecy or connection. Finally, it's important to remember that the world of Coraline is full of elements open to interpretation and personal theories. The creators of the film left many aspects vague and ambiguous, allowing each viewer to explore their own theories and interpretations. The details and theories we've discussed might reveal interesting aspects of the story, but they might not fully reflect the creator's original intentions. So what do you think? Is there something more sinister hidden in the world of Coraline, or is it just a dark and mysterious universe, open to interpretation and personal theories? Leave your comments and let's discuss this fascinating topic further. Aki hindi sarfai je komodikare sumostoy saitar.